Hi everyone. I'm really excited to share this session with you today because we're going to show you how to save 21 hours a week by using digital Kanban boards. And this is all because of applying lean to marketing. And I'm so excited because the person joining us to show us how to do that is Orlagh, who's head of marketing at Clearhill. Clearhill are a company who are one of the guiding lights in applying lean to marketing. They do amazing tours. So Orlagh, fantastic to meet you. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me, Diana. So yeah, I've been working in marketing for over 17 years now, maybe a bit longer than I'd like to admit. But yeah, I joined Clearhill last December as head of marketing. In terms of our team makeup, it's a very small team, so there's just three of us. So we've got a marketing exec, we've got a graphic designer, and myself, head of marketing. Today, I'm really excited to share some of the processes and tools that we use that really help us to reduce waste, eliminate any bottlenecks in our teams, and really work in an efficient, lean manner.
So Orla, I'd love to know when you first started at Clearhill, like any head of marketing when you go into a new role, what were some of the challenges? How did you first start applying lean to marketing? And then what did you do to enable your team to reclaim that 21 hours a week?
Yes, absolutely. I actually have a few slides just before I jump into going through a demo, Diana, if that's okay. In terms of, I guess, the problem, really. So I'm sure a lot of people, whether you work in marketing or any department, you will always have that challenge where you're feeling like you're constantly firefighting. So everything's a priority. I suppose we've all been there. The sort of most recent important task has dropped into the team and has kind of jumped on. And I suppose when I joined Clearhill, there wasn't really any visibility of ongoing works, what was the priority, how long things were taking. And it just, the team were just operating in a really wasteful way, chasing for updates and not really having the ability to say no. So one of the things that I love about the digital Kanban system that I've implemented within Clearhill is it's allowed us to have really, really straight conversations externally. It kind of takes the emotion away from we're really busy, that he was really busy, because it displays everything in a fully transparent way and allows for those conversations of shifting priorities, moving things around really, really simplistically. And I think sort of moving on from, just being in that state of chaos, there's also there's more than just the prioritization benefit of working on a digital Kanban system. When you don't have a system in place, there's so much waste in terms of waiting. So, for example, within the team, someone might have created a blog and they're kind of waiting or chasing for feedback on that. If you don't have a system that enables that sort of push and pull mechanism, it's just really hard for the team. So I feel as, somebody who's fortunate to, work with people and develop a team, making sure that the right systems that are in place to allow them to work really freely is really important. And I think also if you're looking at interdepartmental workflows, quite often there isn't that visibility from what's happening within marketing or operations, and that can cause unnecessary friction. So definitely having that sort of one source of truth really, and clear roles and responsibilities just takes away all of that and allows the team to really work in an atmosphere and a culture that we want, just really positive, really transparent. And it
Yeah,
also feeds into that culture piece really of lean that I absolutely love.
because that's the whole thing, isn't it? You want people to want to come to work. You want them to want to love their jobs. You want them to shine at work. And
Absolutely.
that's what lean is brilliant for, and in particular in marketing, which a lot of people don't realize that how well you can apply lean to marketing. And the digital Kanban board is a classic example of how to make work visual so that, as you said, it takes the emotion away when you're trying to explain why you can't jump on that particular task immediately for the person that's asking you. So I'd
Yeah.
love to see the digital Kanban board.
Yes, let's do it.
So for anyone watching here, digital Kanban board in lean terminology, Kanban is all about in terms of managing your inventory. This digital Kanban board is managing the inventory of work essentially, of requests and the amount of work that marketing actually does. In companies that may not be familiar with lean terms, this is what we'd actually use in terms of workflow management and how work gets done and how you make work visual. So this example here that Orla is showing us is a real live version of their working Kanban board or their digital planner board, whichever term you want to call it. And I'm just so grateful, Orla, that you're being so transparent. It's part of Clearhill's culture because of the lean tours that you do as well, is to be transparent in everything that you do. But I love this because it's that behind the scenes look at how somebody actually gets work done. And Orla, this is a Microsoft Planner board. So how come you decided to use Microsoft instead of a tool such as Asana or Trello or Monday.com?
Yeah, so Clearhill is all on the Microsoft suite, so it just made complete sense to use the Teams Planner board for our operations.
And have you integrated this with any other Microsoft tools?
Yes, I have. I have a few different Power Automate set up, and I'll actually show you how that is integrated in a couple of minutes when I do a bit of a demo. So yeah, so I'll just run through how I set up the planner board for us. So you can see here that I've got different buckets. So the buckets represent different areas in which we support from the marketing team. So we've got commercial, sales collateral, PR, website, etc., etc. The first thing that I think is important to showcase is really how we use the cards on the planner board. So if I jump in here, it'll give you a good overview. So within every single task, you've got a typical naming convention. One thing that's really, really important, anybody that needs to work on this particular task is assigned within the task. I have created a number of different labels, really. So I've got small, medium, large, and extra large. So those are really what we call t-shirt sizing. And the reason for that is that it allows myself really and the team to plan demand versus capacity. So we know if we've got 3 or 4 small jobs, we know how much time in the week that we do have. So every single task is t-shirt sized initially whenever it comes into the team. Also got labels for the area of the business that it relates to. So within Clearhill, we've got a family of brands. I've got different tags for associated sub-brands.
So in terms of then timing and mapping out, so then you figure out whether or not you identify whether a task is going to take, say, a day or 3 days, so that you can figure out how much capacity your team would be needed to work on that, and then you communicate that back to the business.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And there's the ability within the board to filter by different buckets or t-shirt sizing. So we can quickly see how many tasks that we have for a certain size that week. And it works really well. And I'll touch on it a little bit later around Power Automate and the report that I've created to give us that quick view externally as well. But yeah, some of the other things, and I'll jump into an actual task so you can see this in motion, but within every single task, we have a very clear checklist. So this is basically what needs to happen from start to finish to complete this task. Everything is there. And I'll jump into an actual task to show you how we use different functions. So if I were to jump into this particular task, so this task is for creating a sales sheet. So as I mentioned earlier, we have the naming convention, whoever needs to be on it. So we've got 2 team members on there. We've got the associated tags. And then all the usual stuff, if anybody is used to working on a digital Kanban system, such as a due date, start and finish, and then a priority level. But what I really wanted to showcase, which I feel is important, as I said, the checklist. So from start to finish, we have a very clear action list. One thing that's really important, when we move through the stages of the checklist, we only tick it off when that job is completed. So from a lean perspective, that really reduces waste in terms of moving on to the next piece of work until the first piece has been completed. So it's like a pull system that we're creating within the Kanban board. Also, what I would really encourage everyone to do when they're setting up a Kanban system is ensure that everything that you are asking whoever's assigned to this task is actually there. So you can see for this particular task, the brief is attached. So when Emma has been assigned to this task, she knows straight away what she needs to do in terms of a brief. This is a briefing form. The briefing form is there. All of the assets that the particular person needs is all here. Versions are in here as well. So if we've got V1, V2, this is really important because it reduces the need for the team or I to jump into various SharePoint files to try and locate certain products or sorry, documents.
So from a waste perspective, this is all about motion, right? You're
Yes.
decreasing motion and you're decreasing the waiting that you might occur to try find the information. And then how does it progress into updating where it's at from a visual and a communication perspective?
So all of the versions, as you say, would be in here. And the other thing really, we would use the comment box for that version control. So quite often you will find that people within the organization will go on email for feedback on certain documentation. We do everything on here. So for example, if we've got one person out of the office on a day, they just jump straight back into here and all of the communication related to that task is in here. So it's not feedback or emails in my inbox, in the graphic designer's inbox. Absolutely everything is in here. And again, as you say, it reduces that motion and waiting time significantly. Why I personally love working on a Kanban system is you do have the ability to jump into the different features on it. So we can see that the team are working on particular tasks, and we can also reprioritize based on the tagging system. So if we've got a large number of medium tasks, which we absolutely do there, it quickly gives me that visual aid to reprioritize and keep things moving.
Because I think that's the holy grail, isn't it? Being able to show, as you said, exactly how much work is in progress, what's been completed, where things are at. Because it gives you the ability to say, well, this is where I'm at. So if you want this task done, is it a higher priority than something else? And it gives you the ability to negotiate back with the business in terms of, well, what really is the priority there? Because once they see how much marketing has got on, and I know definitely when I work with a lot of marketing teams, I obviously do a lot of auditing. And one of the biggest issues that we come up with is people don't understand how much work marketing is actually doing. So, Orla, one of the biggest challenges that marketing teams have is managing the reactive component of requests from the business. And this is something that you've solved really well. So I'd love to see an example of how you've done that, how it works, and how it saves you, again, so much time and the team so much time.
Yes, absolutely. So, like you mentioned, we will operate proactively and reactively on our board. So, for example, if we identify an opportunity within the team that we need to take action, we will manually add that task. So, we might need to do a bit of market research, for example. I would add that to the team's planner board. So, like any sort of marketing function, I very much see us as a support function within the business. And, with that, requests come into the team. Now, a lot of people will probably resonate where they're in their flow and someone's kind of coming up to the team going, "Hey, Sophie, Emma, Orla, I need this." And that's absolutely fine. And that was definitely happening at Clearhill. So I knew we needed a system that kind of allowed us to not break flows, but also that we were getting the information that we needed. And again, reducing waste in terms of going back and forth for information. So I created a Power Automate integration from this form. So you can see on my screen here that this form is fully accessible throughout the business in various different channels. So for example, this is just on our company-wide channel. There's a marketing support tab here. So it's literally 2 clicks and the team is straight into the form. So if someone in the workshop needs to access this, there are QR codes down in the workshop where they go straight to this form and fill in the information.
So no matter where they are on, within Clearhill, they can access this form immediately, put a request in, so that again, from a waste perspective, it's reduction of transport. They don't physically have to come over to you. It's a reduction of motion. They don't have to go find the form of where it is.
Absolutely.
And they're not waiting to hear back from you either because it's all immediate. So this is such a great example of applying lean to marketing.
Yeah, no, and it's a really good point, actually. There is only one way to submit the request, and it's through this form. So we don't get any supports now via email, for example. So if I just kind of demonstrate how this works. So if I was someone needing an email support, I'd obviously select that. I would select that I need it, for example, by next Friday, upload any relevant supporting information. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'll just say test, but we'd ask for further context to the support and click submit. So you'll see here that I've introduced a service level agreement to the business that we will respond within 48 hours. That support that I have just requested into the team is now live and fully visible on our digital Kanban system. Now, just having that integration has been such a huge improvement for us as a team. When I click into that now, you can see that the link to that specific form is there. So all that needs to happen is, in terms of triaging it, we add a label, we assign it, and we move it to whatever bucket. So whenever a task has been assigned and put in the corresponding bucket and associated timeframes to it, the person assigned then reports back to the person that has submitted the request to give them a more definitive time frame.
It's really great to see how you have been able to bring together a really good system that the company is able to see exactly where flow is in marketing. But what's the feedback been from Clearhill as a business to you and to the marketing team in terms of working this way?
It definitely has been a game changer for not only the marketing department, but the wider business. It's removed so much waste in terms of how we're collaborating. It's given visibility to what the team is working on. It just removes so much ambiguity, and it's also given a lot of education to the wider business in terms of the volume of activity that goes
Yeah.
through the department. And actually, I feel really fortunate that the business has responded so positively. We want to roll this system out across the entire business in 2026.
So in summary, how much time? So we talked about at the start of this, that is 21 hours. Break that 21 hours down for me. So it's 7 hours per person. So how much time was it before versus how much time now it's actually saved?
Working on a system like this has just significantly changed how we are spending our time. The team are spending their time on more valuable work, which is, so much the essence of Lean. We've been able to reduce 90-minute meetings to like 5-minute stand-ups, which is just fantastic. The time that we spent on emails each week was around 3 hours. So we're now enabling the team to spend around 20 minutes a week on emails. We've saved over an hour of reporting time. Our reporting is actually a lot more accurate as well, which is a huge thing. Also, there was so much time being spent questioning what to do next. We've saved over an hour a week for the team in terms of knowing what to move on to next. So, it's been, as I say, huge for us, and being able to save Clearhill as a business over 21 hours a week is just something that, yeah, we're really proud of.
Thank you so much for sharing that behind the scenes. We're definitely going to share a couple more videos in terms of how you manage team capacity, how you build psychological safety within your team. There's so many things that the world can learn from Clearhill Marketing because you've done such an amazing job at applying Lean really brilliantly to it. So thank you so much for your time, Orla.
Thank you very much, Dana. It was good to
Okay,
chat.
bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.